Welcome back to the Base Indonesian Show, where we bring you the latest updates and my take on those updates. A few days ago, we have received a shocking development on Russia. Prigozhin, this Russian oligarch and the owner of Wagner PMC, the Russian PMC that is being cited in Syria, Libya, and some parts of Africa, threw a mutiny against Russia. Outrageous! Do more. Wagner took over parts of Russian towns and cities and were trying to open a corridor to march on Moscow. Prigozhin's reason for throwing a mutiny against Russia, specifically Putin, is because he hates Russia's Minister of Defense, Shoigu, and the Chief of Staff of the Russian military, Gerasimov. A few weeks before Wagner's mutiny, Prigozhin captured a Russian artillery officer who claims to have received orders from Shoigu to RD the f*** out of Wagner's position, killing Wagner contractors. How much of this is actual truth remains unknown, but that is the reason why Prigozhin is throwing a hissy fit at Russia right now. When the people you're fighting for blows you up because you're hogging all the spotlight, you have the right to have a hissy fit. Prigozhin's hissy fit is terrifying. Wagner surviving the meat grinder because of Bakhmut shows them that they are a force to be reckoned with, which is why there were reports that Putin and the top brass fled Moscow when Prigozhin was approaching. Sadly, it all went to flames when Lukashenko decided to be a hero, probably because he was under orders from Putin, to go meet Prigozhin and give him a word about his outburst. To the shock and dismay of many, and to the mild shock of some, Prigozhin accepted what Lukashenko offered and is now living comfortably in Belarus. This is a bizarre turn of events after Prigozhin held all the cards, but here's my take. I reckon Russia holds leverage over Prigozhin, either from having seized his assets to cripple his ability to sustain Wagner, or holding important people to Prigozhin hostage, probably a family member. Russia is a country controlled by the security apparatus who has plenty of experience and knowledge to play dirty, and are quite ruthless. Holding people hostage over politics is a norm in Russia. Oh, you don't like the opposition because they come up with valid arguments? Grab that AK and hold their babushka on gunpoint! This is merely my speculation over why Prigozhin probably didn't have enough drive to move on. Other factors might include that his support amongst the Russian elites is not that strong compared to Shoigu and Putin. Prigozhin holds a massive private army that secures Russian interests overseas, giving him more power and influence. Other stooges might not like that, especially the Silovaks, state authority figures coming from law enforcement, security agency, or the military, such as Alexander Bortnikov, the director of the FSB, discounted successors of the KGB, who released orders to arrest Prigozhin. Prigozhin also recently released a statement condemning Shoigu and Gerasimov over the lack of logistics in Ukraine, leading to the deaths of many Russian soldiers, subtly jabbing the rampant corruption within the Russian military industry. On the other hand, Prigozhin also released another statement slamming the Russian elites for their non-participation in the war. He criticizes Russian elites for keeping their family members out of the fighting and splurging on Western luxury, while other Russians are dying and going home in a coffin, jabbing Russia's intricate web of nepotism. Prigozhin also slammed the fuck out of the Russian government by saying that Russia's denazification and war justifications are complete, utter bullshit, knowing that Russia will kill him if he does so. This man is based, really based. Surely, the military higher-ups and the oligarchs don't like being dragged down from their ivory towers down into the mud with the rest of the peasants. And so they naturally hate Prigozhin, but there's also another factor in which money is a concern. Wagner PMC is a private military company, which is a fancier and polite way of saying a mercenary band these days. And as Niccolo Machiavelli, writer of Il Principe, said, "Mercenaries are loyal to the golden contract, not the state." Wagner's relentless push into Ukraine might have caused a strain to their finance, reducing incentives and having no money to cover lost resources and assets. Meanwhile, Russia is reluctant to pay them because either they are too busy surviving sanctions or having their money squandered by the elites. Whatever the reasons are, Prigozhin's momentum was abrupt into a screeching halt. He could have gotten Moscow and European Russia, but he stopped. Maybe he didn't have the support we imagined from the rest of Russia, despite having the support of a few Russian units around Ukraine. And if he did try and seize power, Wagner would have to cover lots of grounds and hold lots of people under their control. Not to mention, the West would be trying to figure out a way to work around Prigozhin with the amount of war crimes he committed. It's fun to speculate how Russia would be under Prigozhin, but I believe he's better than Putin at the moment. Unpopular opinion. So sad, no more hashtag Team Progi. Stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, Wagner's mutiny and Prigozhin's feud with Shoigu proves to me that Putin does not have complete control of Russia. Honestly, Putin could side with Prigozhin and blame all of Russia's military failures and inadequacy in Ukraine on Shoigu, perhaps then revitalize Russia's effort in Ukraine. But as we see from his address 4 days ago, it's clear he's with Shoigu on this one. With Prigozhin and Wagner humiliating Putin in Russia, and the Ukrainian-backed Belgorod Republic causing issues, and the Ukrainian counteroffensive being launched in a painstakingly slow but steady manner. Only time will tell how much Russia will be watered down in this conflict, and how much power would Putin be left with. In my opinion, it is also a matter of time in which Putin will try and exhaust different ways to look for an exit from this war with his power intact. He knows right now that he needs to win this war in order to preserve his power. Showing weakness will only lead to challenges such as the one displayed by Prigozhin through the Wagner mutiny. Meanwhile, I think the true winner of this entire debacle, Lukashenko, came on top from this one. Reports said he discussed more diplomatic ways of aborting Wagner's mutiny while Putin is adamant in taking him down. Wagner operating in Belarus and Prigozhin essentially being exiled there could be seen as a bargaining chip for Lukashenko in case things go south between Belarus and Russia. I can also speculate that Lukashenko might be doing Prigozhin a service for a favor in the future. There's no logical reason why Lukashenko is keeping around Prigozhin, probably Russia's #1 wanted right now. Either way, keeping Prigozhin close is a smart move by Lukashenko, as Prigozhin is now a more important player in Russia that can potentially be a threat to Putin's power base. All the while, Lukashenko is still on Putin's good side, especially with how he mediated the Wagner mutiny. This is just my take. Feel free to let me know yours and what you think on the comments section. If you like more content like this, make sure to subscribe and click like. Thanks for watching this episode of the Based Indonesian Show, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, real people!